I have to admit, this is the most difficult recording ever. Why didn't I prevent this? Why didn't I see this coming? Why didn't I do anything? Was it actually my fault? Was I not a good kid? Didn't I do all my parents wanted me to do? I actually don't only see the suffering anymore and the pain. I am starting to see the gift life gave to me, actually. Some really valuable things taught me, and that every kind of darkness can teach you something that you can transform into light. I decided to tell my story because I know inside of my heart that we all share the same story. For sure, all our histories are different, they're all unique. But I know that with each and every person on this planet, I have something in common. Some part of my history is the same. So if we combine our stories, we can all grow together. This is the first of many messages I want to share with you guys. Pieces of my heart, pieces of my life that helped me to transform and to be who I am right now. And for a long time, trust me, I avoided this. I used to talk about a lot of beautiful topics, but I avoided talking about my personal history because obviously it makes you vulnerable and it makes you feel like you're opening yourself up to a lot of people you maybe don't even know. I always wanted to be special. I guess we all want to be special in some kind of way, but I didn't realize that what makes me special is my history. Because that history carries all the treasures, all my experiences, all my learnings that I can share, and with that I can help others. First I thought I could start by telling all these amazing adventures and the people and the places I've seen, the experiences I made all over the world, because I have a lot to tell. But then I thought, wait, this is not where it all began. My personal story of transformation was born way before all these amazing adventures. For most of us, at one part in our life, a wake-up call is necessary to confront us with reality and to force us to change something that goes fundamentally wrong. And most of the times this wake-up call is not pretty. It's not easy. It's quite sad and really, really hurts. Back then I was feeling utterly and entirely alone. I cried almost every day. I felt really guilty. I was desperate to run away. And I did. And on the way, I found myself. So my wake-up call was the divorce of my parents. I want to share with you this pretty dark part of my history and how I managed to get out of this as a better person, stronger and more confident, and how you can do too. So this message goes to all the divorced children of this world, and actually goes to everyone who at one point in their life has been lost and didn't see the light. It goes to everyone actually. So let's go back a little bit. How my life was before this wake-up call happened. You could say I lived kind of the perfect life. I mean, I was always the top in school and university, top grades. We lived in a great house. I had a lot of friends. I practiced karate. I had everything, really. A good future ahead. I wasn't happy, believe it or not. Why? Because I always felt deep inside of me that something was missing, that this could not be all. That this image and this picture they paint, of your future, you have to go this path. It's already there and you just have to go, and nice, that's it. You need a house, a husband and a dog and a good job, and that's it. But for me that was never enough somehow. So I guess somehow I planted this seed unconsciously. I'm not saying it was my fault that it happened, but it was clearly necessary. So I was 20 years old when my parents decided to get divorced. And with that, trust me, my whole world started to fall apart. Because it was not a pretty separation. I mean, my parents until this day cannot really stand each other's company, let's say it like that. I know I wasn't a kid anymore, but personally, for me, that made it even more difficult, because it made me feel really guilty and somehow responsible for what happened. Why didn't I prevent this? Why didn't I see this coming? Why didn't I do anything? Was it actually my fault? Was I not a good kid? Didn't I do all my parents wanted me to do? From that moment on, I was split in two, you know? My mom and my dad. And because I was already grown up, they involved me in everything, you know? Because they were like, she's not a kid anymore. She can take that. She has to take the responsibility. Clearly, it didn't have anything to do with me. But I was in the middle of two people that I loved, that I trusted, and that I looked up to at one point. And I didn't want to hurt either of them. But I was in the middle of a war. And I was used many times as a messenger. You know? Tell your mom this, no, tell your dad this. And when my father looked at me, he saw my mother. And when my mother listened to me, she heard my father speak. And all I did was to run away from all the confrontation, the feelings, and from the solution. I didn't know what to do, really. I was almost never home. I spent all the nights outside. I was partying, I was with friends, I went on trips, I just did everything I could to not be home. And actually I felt like there was no home anymore for me. My base, my root was gone. And it was then when I decided to go and study in the UK, which was perfect at that moment. And later I decided to go and travel, no? And to totally leave Germany behind. But always one of my biggest motivations was not to be home. And I know this sounds really harsh and sad, but it's true. So I went on a search. And what was I searching? Well, home. But clearly not a place. I was looking for home, but within myself. So right now, when I look back at this time, and this dark time in my life, I actually don't only see the suffering anymore and the pain. I am starting to see the gift life gave to me, actually. Because it helped me to be where I am right now and who I am right now. It helped me to step out of a lot of comfort zones and to grow up, actually. So I want to share with you some things that I learned from this time. Some really valuable things it taught me. And that every kind of darkness can teach you something that you can transform into light. So something that's really shocking to me is that divorce nowadays is actually normal, no? I mean, to be honest, 9 out of 10 out of my friends are divorced children. And that's pretty sad. I mean, it's kind of a curse of our generation, I feel. But it also made us stronger.
So let's keep searching for somewhere. We're gonna find a way to make tomorrow.
The first thing this divorce actually taught me, or made me do, was to detach from my parents. Because to be honest, I was pretty dependent at one point in my life on the opinions and the approval of my parents. And they put kind of a safety net around me. So I was protected, and with the separation this was lifted and I was exposed to this world. I was like, what do I do now? Mom, Dad? But they were not there anymore. They were occupied with themselves and they kind of forgot about me. You know, she's old enough, let her do her thing. But for me it was pretty hard actually to start reorganizing my life and managing my life alone, managing my feelings alone and all the things I was going through. Even more when I started to travel by myself and doing all the fights and lonely nights, I had no one, just myself. And that was the point when I realized how strong I really am. And now I see it's such a beautiful thing to realize your own strength, you know? That life shows you, hey, you can do this. You have way more strength inside of you than you think. And this strength will never leave you again. For that reason, I feel like life makes you detach from people, situations, even material things that hold you back, you know? that make you dependent on something, so you can start to transform your own life. The second thing that happened to me was that I started at one point to not believe in love anymore. You know, when you see the generation of your parents, that after so many years of being together, they just kind of decide to throw it away. So I thought, anyway, if someday it will break, why even start? But my path actually taught me that we're not doomed to live the life of our parents, to relive their history. We don't actually need to make the same mistakes they made. We should better take all the good things, all the beautiful things they gave us, and leave all the mistakes they made to them. It belongs to them. And better make other mistakes, because we're always gonna make mistakes, and this is beautiful. That's the only way we learn. And let's enjoy making our own mistakes. So I decided not to take the example of my parents, of the relationship with my parents, into my own life. No, I don't have to do the same thing. I don't have to separate. I can do it better, actually. I can learn from that. And another thing that goes with that I learned to not judge my parents for the mistakes they made. Because for sure, when I was a kid, my parents kind of seemed like those role models, you know, those masters of life that have it all figured out, that have all the answers. And when you grow up, you realize that that's actually not the case, and that you actually have to think by yourself and make your own experiences and your own judgments and opinions. Because your parents also have problems, they struggle, yeah, they make mistakes. They do not know everything. They're not always right. And they have their traumas, actually, they have to solve too. And their hidden shadows, just as every human does. So once I realized that they are not so different from me, that they're not better than me, I stopped also judging them for the mistakes they made or for the divorce. Because actually, I don't want to judge them because I don't want to judge myself. And actually, I want to thank them because they gave me life. I mean, think about that. They gave you life. That's the biggest gift ever. And after that, they're also just learning. So they raised me to their best knowledge and gave me everything they could in that moment. So all I am and all I want to be right now is thankful. So to be honest, the divorce of my parents took some things from me, but it also gave me so much because it made me stronger. It made me more independent. It forced me to grow up. It forced me to go on a journey of discovering myself, of finding my own home, actually, which is not outside of me. And without this wake-up call, I don't know if I actually would have traveled more than 44 countries. If I would have studied abroad, if I would now live abroad and build my own project and business. I don't know if that would have happened. What I realized is that every single thing that happens to us in our life may be as unfair and dark and horrible in that moment, it brought you where you are right now. So in the end, it's a gift, you know, it's the best place where you will ever be is right here, right now. Me recording this video, talking to you. This event gave me the strength to do that, actually. Without that, I would not be talking to you right now. So what I encourage you, and I encourage myself actually every single day, to change my perspective on my past and on my history. And if your parents got divorced or you experienced something apparently horrible in your life, it seems like you apparently lose something. But it's you who decides if it's something good or something bad. It's all about the perspective. And sometimes we need time to see that clearly and take a little bit of distance. But trust me that one day, this wake-up call, this dark part of your history, will be the story you will one day tell others to inspire them to be a better person, to live a better life. Follow me on Instagram. So I hope this message reached you in some way. And I will continue recording these messages, referring to my own history and sharing with you how I think about this now and how I see it now and how it helps me still until this day to transform my life, because this is an everyday work. This is not just done. This is constantly happening. And actually sharing with you this helps me so much to see it more clearly and gives me more strength actually to continue that. Thank you so much for listening to me with your heart, for receiving. I just want to say, Mom, Dad, I love you. Thank you. I forgive you. I have to admit that it was the hardest recording I ever did in my whole life. You don't know how many attempts I tried to record this. That's life. We just have to surrender. And in the end, we will see the good things that come out of it. Yes. It's awesome. In the next wake-up call, bring it on. Life, bring it on. Maybe I'm already in the next wake-up call. Also, from my beautiful cat that is accompanying me. 1 and 2.
Cause we're all reaching for something, we're all craving change, hoping tomorrow is better than today. And we're all searching for somewhere, trying to find a way, hoping tomorrow is better than today. Hoping tomorrow is better than today. It's not easy sleeping when I lay down in bed, cause I got all these worries running through my head. And it's hard to keep pushing forward when trouble pulls you back, and you wake up even further from a dream you had. Times get tough, but I don't give up, cause I know I'm not alone. Cause we're all reaching for something, and we're all craving change, hoping tomorrow is better than today. And we're all searching for somewhere, trying to find a way, hoping tomorrow is better than today. Hoping tomorrow is better. So just hold on when someone breaks you. Just hold on when fear shakes you. Just hold on when darkness takes you. Just hold on. Cause we're all reaching for something, we're all craving change, hoping tomorrow is better than today.